Citroen's AMI offers an urban mobility solution for our cities. Its quadricycle format, allowing it to be cheap, simple and fun. It's left-hand drive only, there's no boot, only 2 seats, and it only goes 46 miles on each electric charge at a maximum of just under 28 miles an hour. But you might still enjoy driving one of these more than any car you've ever owned.
The AMI is electric, of course. There wouldn't be much point if it wasn't. But its little 5.5 kilowatt hour battery is about 1/10 of the size of that you'd find in a typical small EV. And it's mated to an electric motor developing 6 kilowatts, just 8 horsepower. Doesn't sound very promising, does it? Even for a very compromised take on urban mobility. But let's see. Well, it zips away rapidly enough, aided by 625 newton meters of torque. Few vehicles we've ever tried reach their top speed quicker than this one, but that's because maximum velocity here is just 27.9 miles an hour. So you wouldn't expect it to take very long. It's actually around about 10 seconds. Just under 28 miles an hour doesn't sound very fast, does it? Well, until you take account of the environment in which this Citroen is designed to operate. The average peak time speed in central London is 7.1 miles an hour, and in inner London that rises only as far as 11.6 miles an hour, which means in reality that the AMI has quite as much pace as any dedicated urban dweller would ever need. Like many other nations, Britain classes cars of this kind as quadricycles. You'll need a license to drive one, but it's one of the AM kind, the sort you'd need to drive a moped or a quad bike, providing that 2 or 3-wheeled vehicle can't exceed 28 miles an hour. Quadricycles aren't subject to the same safety requirements as anything that would be described as a car, because they're much less likely to mix with fast-moving traffic at any real speed. That's certainly not possible on a typical inner city journey. So as we suggested earlier, the fact that this Citroen's top speed is restricted to meet all those licensing requirements is rarely likely to be troubling. Indeed, it works in your favour because it prevents that little battery from draining its cells too quickly. Pretty essential given the WMTC rated driving range between charges is just 46 miles. Still, 46 miles should be ample for several days of the kind of congested metropolitan driving that in an ordinary car you'd dread, but in this Citroen might actually turn out to be rather fun. You sit high and commandingly, all-round visibility is great, and if it were legal you could park it nose onto the curb. Park normally and you'll find the AMI takes up half the space of an ordinary car. We'll state the obvious here, you can't drive an AMI on a motorway, and we'd think twice about major highways too if you don't want a queue of angry drivers behind you. Accept all these caveats though and you'll find so much to like about urban life with this little Citroen. The AMI is a supremely stable little thing, and it can dart through traffic like a Deliveroo scooter. Best of all perhaps is the turning circle. That's outstanding, just 7.2 metres. UK models will come with a rather natty built-in European 2-pin plug which feeds awkwardly through a recess behind the passenger door. That plug comes with a Type 2 connector adapter. You can fit onto it for use with a garage wall box or at a public charging point. With this EV, there are no decisions to be made about fast or rapid chargers and different networks. Wherever you charge, you can expect your battery replenishment from empty to full to take around 3 hours. There is currently no road tax to pay, although that might change for quadricycles in future. That depends, of course, on what the Chancellor decides. What we do know for certain is that the quadricycle classification means that benefit-in-kind taxation doesn't apply here. Servicing intervals are every 2 years or 12,500 miles, whichever comes around first. You can buy a My AMI Care package if you want to pay for that in advance. Bear in mind that you don't get as comprehensive a warranty package as you would with an ordinary Citroen. The one provided covers you for 2 years with unlimited mileage, plus there's a separate 3-year 25,000 mile cover for the battery. You get 3 years or 25,000 miles of cover for roadside assistance, but there's no paintwork warranty because there's no paintwork. There are no insurance groups for the AMI because it's not a car. Insurance apparently take their own view on quadricycles, so you'll have to ask yours what they think about this one. Well, it is small, it's very small, just 2.41 metres long and 1.4 metres wide in fact, and 1.52 metres high. The Dr. Dolittle push me pull you looks that see the front similar to the back are partly intentional, and they're partly about reducing production costs at the Moroccan factory. That is a bit of a theme here. So for example, the doors are identical left and right, which means that they have to open in opposite directions. The passenger side one is front hinged, while this driver's side one is rear hinged. Yes, like a Rolls-Royce in some ways. Which is why when you go to where you think the door catch should be, you'll find a little orange reflector there instead. Door opening is managed by this rather stiff little button on the forward edge of the door aperture. As you pull the door back, you'll notice that half of the side window here is hinged to flap upwards, and that's a reference to the classic Citroen 2CV. The cabin's only offered with a steering wheel on the left, but the AMI is so small that doesn't really matter that much. And anyway, you're much more likely to notice that this interior is astonishingly spacious for a car of this size. Head space is generous. Folk up to 6 feet 6 inches will fit comfortably, as is legroom with plenty of adjustable seat travel available. Nor would you feel uncomfortably close to a passenger seated alongside you. The roomy vibe is emphasised by this glass roof panel here, which Citroen rather generously fits as standard, and by the low belt line and the fact that the glass area occupies almost half of the interior surfacing. Plus there's the windscreen's placement quite a way in front of you. These upwardly hinged side windows take some getting used to though, as do the fabric door pulls and the two provided firm and thinly upholstered seats. There's a push button gear selector down the left hand side of the seat. You get a conventional handbrake but no rear view mirror, and through this 3-spoke wheel you view a little black and grey screen with a battery charge indicator and digital readouts for range and speed. Any cabin luggage you want to carry has to ride in this spacious passenger footwell, which offers 64 litres of space and will probably take something like an airline carry-on bag. Bright, potentially colour-themed dashboard storage areas under this vast windscreen offer further practicality. There's so little space behind the two seats that Citroen didn't think there was much point in providing an opening rear hatch or an opening rear window to access it. What there isn't covered on this passenger model, only on the cargo van version. Now, Citroen quotes a maximum weight limit for passengers and for luggage, in addition to the driver, of 140 kilos. In the unlikely event that you're interested in regularly carrying packages in your AMI, you will want that cargo van version, which offers a 400 litre capacity and can take a modest 140 kilo payload. If you fit the targeted metropolitan demographic, and as long as you don't view the AMI as some kind of small super mini, it's hard to see why you wouldn't like it very much. Because it's not limited by the constraints which would apply to a conventional city car, it can be cheaper, smaller, more economical and more fun. Yes, along the way, compromises have had to be made in terms of performance, safety and cabin space, but likely owners either won't need those things at low speeds in the city, or they'll have another more conventional vehicle in the garage back home to provide them. For decades now, we've been offered new Citroen models which claim to rekindle the brand's original pioneering spirit, but here at last is one that really does. Like an early 2CV, it's original, it's fun, and in its own way, it's really quite desirable. Drive one and people you pass will smile and wave. There's a feeling here of the motor car reinventing itself for a very different age, in a Citroen which really is a sign of the times.